Sometimes we forget why we're here. It's easy to fall off track. These help us remember.
These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Growing up I had a dream, something no one else could see. Tell me what it means when your faith is falling beneath your knees and you can't breathe. Everything you see reminds you of what you're not or something you won't be. You gotta take what you're given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business. Not because they wanna do it, just because they heard it pays. And who the fuck wants to be poor knowing that's how we've been raised? Society is getting heavy, I can feel the weight. The pressure of success is like 100 million pounds of shame. And that's the reason I'm staying up late, trying to find a way to escape the stereotypes this day and age is making me feel like the only way I'll be happy is getting signed to a label and making money through rapping. I wanna share my emotion because this world is attacking the very principle of life that lets the people be happy. If you don't have a reason to breathe, why even live? These battle scars are impressions of everything that it is.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Now if I had a voice that reached 100 million people, I'd tell them there's a reason that we're all created equal. Cause some decide to be great and some decide a sequel to an average person's life is simply what they want to be. So you make your decision, all I know is what I'm given. Won't define the life I lead or the way I dwell in existence. I've seen a greater image on the walls of where I'm living, and the words twisted and scripted remind me of something written. Faith is a gift that is given down to the people. If one believes it, one receives it. It's given if it is needed. Don't ever think you're trapped in a life that you never wanted. Your options are infinite, that's some mathematical logic. I'm not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers and these battle scars on my church. Not saying I'm a prophet, I'm speaking for what it's worth. These lyrics define my prayers, these battle scars on my church.
Don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battle scars don't look like they're faded, don't look like they're ever gone away. They ain't never gonna change. These battles.
Okay, ooh, my hair is really messy, isn't it? And let me get this off of the screen until we get comments. I'm a bit later than I wanted to be. And hello, Dave Davis. We'll get a few more comments and we'll put comments up on the screen. We're gonna get right into it after the little YouTube promotions. If you are new to this channel, which I am sure there will be, and I haven't corrected this so that this shows up a little bit better. But if you are new to this channel, which I'm sure the title will get some new people in, please subscribe. You don't have to like and share, but I really would appreciate the subscribe if you would like a libertarian perspective, particularly a knowledgeable libertarian perspective, which it seems that a lot of people, particularly conservatives today, are commenting on libertarianism and they don't know anything about it. Also, you can follow me on X Twitter, which is Karen Ann Harlos. Please note the spelling. And last but not least, if you appreciate my content, I would appreciate you supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/Pink Flame of Liberty. And that is going to be all of the shameless shilling for this evening, and I do have comments left. But what I want to deal with is the burning question of the hour, particularly since the completely vacuous New York Times, why you trust or read legacy media is completely beyond me. The completely vacuous New York Times article came out. Now, yesterday I dealt with why you shouldn't just blindly trust any YouTube or media talking heads, including myself. because I showed you how Matt Walsh completely misrepresented through omissions the Danny Masterson situation. And now I'm going to tell you why you should not take the New York Times tripe teasing you that somehow RFK is going to be the Libertarian Party candidate seriously. Now, the New York Times is not the only publication that has done this. Well, I don't want to say publication, let's just say media. Ben Shapiro the other day was talking about this, and then he said, well, you know, RFK's probably pursuing a third-party run. Well, what third party possibly could RFK be looking at? There really is only two, and only one of them is realistic out of the two, which is the Libertarian Party. The other would be the Constitution Party, but they're far too openly conservative, so it would be the Libertarian Party. But Ben Shapiro is talking out of his booty hole because he doesn't know what he's talking about when it comes to this. I listened earlier today to Liberal Hive Mind, which is a show I listen to, in which he completely showed that he's completely ignorant on how things work. Because first he insulted libertarians by saying a bunch of losers who are only going to get 1% of the ballot. You want to know what, dude? I listen to your channel. We agree on a lot of things because I think the left is completely terrible. But since you said that about the Libertarian Party, I hope we spoil the... Are we 10 minutes in yet? We aren't. I hope we spoil the living F out of your desired results so that I can lap up your tears. But anyway, after he said that, you know, libertarians are a bunch of losers who might get 1% in the election, he then completely showed his ignorance of the political process, at least as the Libertarian Party is concerned, by saying that RFK was probably going to declare as an independent this weekend, and then interchanging that term, independent, with third party. No, Mr. Ignorant, the two things are different. Somebody running as an independent is not running as a third-party candidate. This is not only true for the Libertarian Party, it goes for any other party. Independent is something different, and you completely interchanging the terms showed that we shouldn't take you seriously and you don't know what you're talking about. And then there was another show I was listening to. I think the name of it was Do Dissidents. And I'm not going to rag on them because these statements that I'm going to refer to are in isolation, where they are just saying in general that perhaps RFK is going to pursue a third-party run. They don't say whether they think that's likely, and I might be importing my presuppositions as to what they mean into their statements. But I think it's fair because it's what their audience might think. Your typical average American doesn't know how the political process works. I say this as someone who's just been involved in politics since 2014. Before 2014, I didn't know how the political process works. And knowing how third parties work is completely different from how the major parties or the duopoly works. So RFK is, from what I can tell, rightly mad at the DNC. I didn't like Bernie Sanders, but the DNC screwed him out of the nomination. I loved Ron Paul, and the RNC screwed him out of the nomination. So people who just know major party politics assume that third-party politics work the same way. And I am here to disabuse you of that notion. So the New York Times came out with an article that, oh, it's been unreported before. Like they got some scoop. They didn't get any scoop. But anyway, like it's been unreported before that RFK at Freedom Fest met with Angela McArdle, the chair of the Libertarian Party. Maybe it was unreported before. That's because the scumbag media only reports on the major parties. They made it sound like it was a secret before. It was not a secret. Everybody in the Libertarian Party knew about it. It was no secret it's bad on you that you didn't report it until now that Angela McArdle met with RFK. But what does that mean? Unlike the duopoly, unlike the Republican National Committee and the Democrat National Committee, the LNC, which is the Libertarian National Committee, has no control or say over who becomes our nominee. Now I'm going to stop. For those of you who are already in my chat, you already know this, so please indulge me for a few minutes, because putting RFK and the title of this video, there's going to be newcomers to this channel who don't know me. And they might think I'm just talking out my booty hole the way all of these other people do. Let me give you my bona fides and also my disclaimers. I'm the National Secretary of the Libertarian National Committee. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Now, even though I am the National Secretary of the Libertarian National Committee, I do not speak on this channel in the party voice. I am not the spokesperson of the National Libertarian Party. I am my own person, and everything I say on this channel is my own opinion and should not be imputed to the Libertarian National Committee or the Libertarian Party. But I'm giving you my bona fides to show you that I understand the process. I'm the frickin' National Secretary who will be signing the nomination certificates that go to each Secretary of State in each state in this nation. Now, the Libertarian National Committee has zero say over who our nominee is. We are not like the Democrats who are screwing over RFK by changing the convention rules. We can't do that. It's not within our power. So Angela meeting with RFK is not some big scoop. She would meet with anybody who expressed interest in the Libertarian Party. It does not mean that we are interested in him or not interested in him. It just means that we are acting like a political party. And for her to say in that New York Times article that if you do intend upon seeking our nomination, please reach out, that doesn't mean in any way she's supporting him or not supporting him. The fact is, he's a big name, and we want to know if he is going to be seeking our nomination because we need to make security arrangements at convention. This is just practical reality, and why would we spit in the face of RFK, who, although we disagree, RFK Jr., although we disagree on many issues, we also agree on some issues. There's no reason to be hostile. Because Angela was a good chair of the party doesn't mean that she can put any kind of fix in, or that she would want to, or that the LNC would want to put any kind of fix in for RFK. That's just not how it works. And it's so shocking to me that these political commentators don't understand whatsoever how third-party politics work. Here is the facts. Our delegates at convention completely have the power to decide who our nominee is. The LNC has no power. And our delegates are not chosen in the corrupt way that the DNC and RNC choose their delegates. It's completely up in the air right now who are going to be delegates at the LNC, at the Libertarian National Convention in DC. We have no idea. It is a crapshoot. Now, can RFK seek our nomination? Sure. So can anyone else. As long as you're a member of the National Party, you can seek our nomination. That doesn't mean you're going to get it. So all of this is a tempest in a teapot. What do I think? I think RFK is going to run actually as an independent, not as a synonym for third party. I think he's going to run as an independent. Now, is there a chance he will seek the Libertarian Party nomination? Sure. There's a chance that any of the also-rans in the duopoly could seek the Libertarian Party nomination. I think there's a non-zero chance that Vivek Ramaswamy is going to seek the Libertarian nomination. But let me tell you my prediction, which could be wrong. But I've got really good political instincts, and it makes me want to puke in my mouth, but I do. I'm actually good at this, even though that grosses me out. Do I think RFK has a snowball's chance in hell if he was seeking the Libertarian Party nomination of getting it? No. And his handlers know that. And they're not going to have him suffer the humiliation of seeking a nomination and not getting it. He has no chance. Vivek Ramaswamy has no chance. That's my personal opinion, not speaking as national secretary, just as somebody who's been deeply entrenched in the Libertarian Party at the highest levels and at local levels. Now, I can tell you personally, I expect that I will be a delegate with the Libertarian Party of Colorado. I might not be, but maybe I will. I think there's a good chance I will. And some of you might go, oh, definitely you will. I wouldn't count on that. I'm going to be national secretary. They might decide that they want somebody whose butt can be in the delegate seat the whole time, because I'll have to abstain from a lot of votes if I'm a delegate. I'm the national bylaws chair. So it wouldn't at all hurt my feels if I wasn't a delegate for Colorado. In fact, just thinking in a very mercenary sense, it's probably wiser for them to make me like first alternate. But in any event, if I get to vote on the presidential nomination, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that I will vote for RFK Jr. It's not that I dislike him, but he's not a libertarian. And I, for instance, do not believe that the Libertarian Party should drop its drawers for any also-ran who's not a libertarian just because they're a big name who seeks our nomination. Other people disagree with me. I should find that meme. Yeah, Twitter doesn't have like a photo search that is really easy, but there's this meme of me that says that libertarian principles are not a cheap whore to sell, excuse me. So libertarian principles are not a cheap whore to sell for fickle, cheap votes or, for fickle votes. And I firmly believe this. I will be voting for a libertarian candidate. And RFK Jr., while I do like a lot of his positions, I dislike a lot of his positions. I dislike his foreign policy. I dislike his position on guns. There's not a chance in hell I'll be voting for him. And there's not a chance in hell, in my opinion, that he will be getting the Libertarian Party nomination. Before listening to these talking heads who are just trying to clickbait you, maybe you should talk to people who are actually in the fucking Libertarian Party. Now, there are some people who do not care for this particular LNC. And going through history, this is nothing new. I'm reading something from Pennsylvania, which was it, 1997, in which they are just raging against the LNC. I'm like, oh, things never change. But as somebody, I actually forgot where I was going. Oh, there's people who don't like the current LNC who are going, the Angela faction is endorsing RFK. I don't care how quote unquote good and nice people think you are, or the facade that you've been putting on. If you are saying that, you are a liar. And no one should take anything seriously that you say from this point on. And it's funny how so many people in the party are scared to call out certain people because they're viewed as doing great things in the past. If you are lying today, I don't care. There is no quote-unquote Angela faction that is supporting RFK. How dare you lie to other party members that way? But anyway, could he seek our nomination? Yes. Might it be good for the Libertarian Party if he does so? Yeah, it'll get us a lot of publicity. And his stance on COVID is exactly right. And his anti-establishment positions are right. But he's not a libertarian. And that's not said in hostility. Just because you're not a libertarian doesn't mean that I think you're a bad person. I just think you're politically mistaken. But it's post Bill Weld, I will never, ever cast a delegate vote for a non-libertarian again. I will never allow us to be bent over again like we were with Bill Weld, even though Gary Johnson almost cried to get us to nominate him. So there's not a snowball's chance in hell that these Republican retreads are going to get our nomination. I could be wrong, but that's my particular stance. And when it comes to this, I know what I'm talking about. It doesn't mean I'm right, but it means I'm more right than Ben Shapiro is because, again, I actually have experience in this arena. So I'm going to give this a few moments. This was a short show because I just wanted to get this out there. And thank you all for the likes. Again, this channel runs on contributions, so super chats matter, super thanks matter. And I hope any of you new viewers are appreciative of at least someone who knows what they're talking about in the Libertarian Party perspectives opinion. Oh, and here's my Liberty Unmasked shirt from the Reno convention. So I'll give it a few minutes, take a few sips, see if there's any questions or comments. Matt Kirby, I'm not sure who you're referring to. I don't think you're referring to me. I think you're referring to RFK and maybe what's going on, where you said it feels like theater. Politics is theater. Let's be real. Doesn't mean we have to like it, but I do think we have to come to grips with reality. So politics is theater. And let me diverge a little bit here. I do think it'll be great if RFK runs as an independent. I think he will throw a monkey wrench into the system, and I am here for it. Doesn't mean I want him to win, but let's be clear. Take the Libertarian Party candidate off the table for a moment. Let's say that our only options were RFK, Trump, and Biden. I'd want RFK to win out of that. Now, that doesn't mean I'll ever vote for him. I'm going to be voting for the Libertarian Party candidate. I'm a Libertarian Party partisan, and if there's not a Libertarian Party candidate in the race, I don't vote. That's just me. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm saying what I'm going to do. But let's pretend that there were no other options. Who would I prefer out of those three? RFK any day of the week and twice on Sunday, because the other two are completely, absolutely awful. And if he seeks our nomination, he'll be trying to whore us for our ballot access, and I am just as glad to whore him for the publicity, because politics is a game of whores. Let's be honest. And if we are mutually doing that, hey, fair trade. So let's see. And Dave says, Ben Shapiro and Matt Walsh are probably hoping that RFK Jr. is the LP nominee in order to discredit the LP. Let me be completely fair to Matt Walsh here. I haven't heard him even mention really RFK, but I don't listen to every single one of his shows. I don't think Ben Shapiro knows what he's talking about with the LP, so I actually don't agree with you with that. And particularly with Ben Shapiro, because I don't think Ben Shapiro is a big Trump fan. And I do think he believes that if RFK enters the race, it really is a wild card race. I know a lot of people think he'll just, I hate the term draw votes away, because your vote belongs to you and you don't owe it to anybody and no one can steal your vote. But Ben's mindset is, I don't think he thinks that RFK will only draw votes away from dumbass Biden. I think he believes he'll draw votes away from dumbass Trump. So I think he's concerned about both situations. So I'm not so sure Ben is thinking that. But some people might be. I can tell you without mentioning names, because I do believe for the most part, unless somebody does something really egregious, that emails that are sent to the LNC are private. We've gotten a lot of emails urging us to support RFK. Well, the fact is, it doesn't matter what my opinion is. The LNC doesn't support anyone. Our job as the LNC is to put on a national convention. The LNC doesn't endorse or help anyone. Individual LNC members can. I, as an LNC member, haven't endorsed anybody. I've just said certain people I'd never vote for. One of them was the Tiger King, who has since left the Libertarian Party and gone to the Democrat Party. Best of luck to you. And then there's RFK, who's still officially a Democrat. Those are two people I would not vote for. I would not vote for Vivek Ramaswamy, even though, as the nominee, even though he hasn't given it any indication that he would seek the LP nomination. It wouldn't surprise me if he did. So I hope that straightened things out, because there's just so much speculation and information out there, and I wanted to put a douse of like reality check on this thing. Matt, Dave is definitely not making room for RFK. Definitely not. Dave has endorsed Reckenwald. That is just a fact. And he's not doing it to be disingenuous. So, take a few more sips. I'm enjoying the questions. I'll hang out as long as you all want to ask questions. I am so freaking tired. I cannot even tell you. But Saturday's my historical, warehouse day, so it always jazzes me up a little bit. To answer official up in the chat, if RFK runs as an independent, yeah, I do think he might get 5%. RFK is popular. Not enough to win, in my opinion, but enough to throw a monkey wrench in this. And let me tell you, I'm going to be popping my popcorn and lapping up the duopoly tears. Why am I so hostile to the duopoly? Let me tell you why. And this is both Democrats and Republicans, though I share the view of the creators of South Park, and this is going to chap some asses, and I don't care. I hate the right, but I fucking hate the left. But in either event, I'll be lapping up tears, because both of those corrupt parties are just two wings of the same foul bird, and they vote on party lines every single state whenever it can happen to screw third parties out of ballot access. Those of you who think we should be working with the Republicans because you might agree with them a tiny bit, no. They work to screw us out of ballot access every opportunity they get. Ask the Montana Libertarian Party the way they almost got screwed. I can tell you the way we almost got screwed in Colorado. And there are states where the Democrats do it as well. So it's not just the Republican. They are not our friends. No, we should never endorse them. Does that mean all Republicans or Democrats, but we're talking about Republicans right now, are bad? No. But it does mean the party is rotten to the core. For instance, I adore Thomas Massie. I think he's great. And because he's great, I think if he's going to be a man of principle, he should leave the Republican Party and join the Libertarian Party. But in any event, no, I'm not saying all people in the Republican Party are bad. I am saying the Republican Party is bad. There is a difference there. All right, everyone. And this is a spicy margarita. Look at all those jalapenos Wayne put in there. Woo! Woo! That is spicy. Absolutely spicy. And I see Brian saying it's the Iowa GOP that screws third-party ballot access. Let me say, when it comes to the LP, we like to say both sides, but let me give you some hard facts, those of you who are more conservative in your outlook. 70% of the time, it's the Republicans that are bending over the Libertarian Party without lube. So no, I don't support them. But I see the Democrats screwing more leftist parties out of ballot access. So I don't like either of them, but if I'm going to take it personally, yeah, the Republicans are worse. And H. Reardon says if he left the Republican Party, he would not get reelected. Well, as long as we have that mindset, we are never going to get out of the status system we are. History is made by men of valor. And I actually do mean men. And by men, I mean people who have dangly bits, because I do think that history can be made by strong women, but I think in general it's made by strong men. And we need strong men to take a stand and take history back. And if all you care about is re-election, then you're not a person of principle in my book. And you can hate me for that opinion all you want. Anybody who's been following me for years knows that I've been extremely principled on this point, and I will remain extremely principled on this point. Pragmatism and compromise in that way do not ultimately gain us freedom. And I'm here for freedom. It takes people who are willing, like the men who signed the Declaration of Independence, knowing that putting their signature on that line was signing their death warrant. I don't want to hear any crocodile tears about not getting reelected when the people who founded this country were willing to be put to death. Save me your diaper. I'm not your mommy. Anyway, I have strong opinions and I'm passionate about them. Why? Because our future is getting lost. Last night, Wayne and I went to go see Oppenheimer. We had these really old AMC gift certificates that we had to use, and they were about to expire. So we decided to go see Oppenheimer. And what's really funny is I knew who Oppenheimer was, but Wayne really wasn't that educated in history. And the movie was great in some ways, but not great in other ways. I thought the pacing was terrible. It lasted way too long. I wanted to fall asleep in the middle of it. But the end of it was so powerful. It made the rest of the movie worth it. And that's the type of attitude which motivates me. H. Reardon, principles are worthless when you're on the boxcar on your way to the death camp. That is pragmatism at its best, and we just fundamentally disagree. Until you stand on principles, you are then consigning a future generation to be on a boxcar on the way to a death camp. So if you care more about your own behind rather than the future of humanity, then go ahead and compromise your principles. I will not. I have already paid a heavy personal toll for sticking by principles. I worked my ass off to be secretary of the Libertarian Party, and people of no principle stole it from me last term, and I knew it would happen, and I still stood on principle. And if a woman can do that, I expect the men to do that, and I don't give a flying fuck who that offends. All right, that is it for this evening. You got a taste of the pure, fiery Karen Ann Harlos, and you will either like it or hate it, but I will make you feel something, and I will leave my mark on history. Over and out. Mi guapas de libertad.
Given, that's how we live it. Don't be mad at the system, it's simply how we've existed. I hear a lot of people talking like they politicians and choose to be an accountant because it's safe in a business, not because they want